10 most astonishing footage ever caught on camera. Have you ever seen something so unbelievable you thought, that can't be real? From nature's most mind-boggling phenomena to heart-pounding accidents, the world is full of moments that leave us speechless. And thanks to modern technology, cameras capture it all. With smartphones and drones always within reach, we're ready to record the extraordinary at a moment's notice. Whether it's a tree mysteriously spewing water or an unexpected avalanche escape, these astonishing moments are forever preserved through the lens. Without the footage, some of these events would seem too surreal to believe. Today, we're counting down 10 of the most incredible moments ever caught on camera. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe, 10 Chronicles button and turn on notifications to keep up with more jaw-dropping stories. Let's get started. 10. The Falling Crane. On the tranquil shores of São Miguel Island in the Portuguese Azores, dock workers had a day that quickly turned into a nightmare. They were using a massive mooring crane to load a mobile crane onto a ship. It seemed like a routine task, but out of nowhere, disaster struck. The workers suddenly heard a loud cracking sound. Something was wrong with the cable supporting the load. As the dock crew watched in horror, the cable snapped, and the enormous crane, no longer under control, started to swing wildly. Moments later, the crane plummeted toward the ground, sending dust and debris flying everywhere. The dock workers quickly scrambled for safety as the crane fell with a massive crash, leaving the area covered in debris. Dust clouded the scene, making it hard to see what was happening. But the worst fear was yet to come. The workers were worried that the huge mooring crane still on the ship might follow and topple down as well. Luckily, the large crane stayed put, and the immediate danger passed. Though the accident seemed to unfold slowly in front of them, in reality, the entire fall happened in seconds, giving the workers no time to react except to run for cover. No one was hurt, but the situation could have been much worse. These cranes are deceptively large. The mobile crane that fell could lift between 50 and 500 tons, but the mooring crane on the ship can handle up to 1,500 tons. If both had fallen, the consequences would have been devastating. After investigating, it was revealed that the cable used wasn't strong enough to handle the load, leading to the accident. Fortunately, no lives were lost that day. 9. The Flowing Tree. In Birmingham, Alabama, the city's tree-cutting crew encountered something they never expected. On December 5, 2021, a team of tree cutters arrived to remove a large, decaying sweet gum tree. According to the crew's photographer, Mike, the tree was rotting from within due to a void in its trunk, which had filled with water over time. As the team began cutting into the tree, something astonishing happened. Water came pouring out of the tree trunk like a miniature waterfall. Mike couldn't believe his eyes. "Wow, that's crazy," he exclaimed as the water gushed out, drenching the workers. The sight was so unusual that it left everyone there in awe. Sweet gum trees, native to the warmer regions of North America, are easy to recognize by their star-shaped leaves and spiked fruit. Normally, trees absorb water from the ground through their roots, but seeing water burst out of a trunk like this is nearly unheard of. Experts believe that the tree had decayed to the point that water had filled the hollow spaces within. When the cutters sliced into the trunk, it released the built-up water like a dam breaking open. Some also speculate that this strange phenomenon could have been a sign of wetwood disease, a bacterial infection in trees that causes the wood to become waterlogged. Water in such cases often turns yellow or brown and releases gas that has a foul odor. This unexpected waterfall had the entire crew amazed, and the footage quickly gained attention online. 8. Avalanche Escape. The town of Hope in South Alaska is small, with only around 200 people, and sits nestled in the wilds of the Alaskan wilderness. It's the kind of place where nature dominates and adventure calls out to the brave. Just 2 hours from Anchorage, it's an ideal spot for thrill seekers, especially snowmobilers, who love zipping through the snowy terrain. On November 5, 2019, a group of local teens was out riding their snowmobiles, carving through the untouched snow. The day seemed perfect, until one of them accidentally rode into a patch of loose snow. In an instant, the snow began to give way, triggering a massive avalanche that started rumbling down the mountain like a wave of destruction. Thanks to the helmet camera worn by one of the teens, we can relive his harrowing escape. At first, the snowmobile races ahead of the avalanche, but as the snow loosens further, the mass of snow gains speed. The teen keeps looking over his shoulder, watching as the avalanche draws closer, threatening to engulf him. He pushes his snowmobile to the limit, racing to outrun the tidal wave of snow that's closing in fast. After what feels like an eternity, He realizes he can't outrun it and stops, exhausted and shaken. Thankfully, his friend returns, and together they manage to avoid disaster. The footage shows just how terrifying an avalanche can be, turning what should have been a fun day into a life-or-death race against nature. 7. The Mud Volcano. In the dense rainforests of Sabah, Malaysia, lies the Typhoon Wildlife Reserve, home to a rare and fascinating geological feature, the Mud Volcano. Unlike fiery volcanic eruptions, this type of volcano spews cold, thick mud, and it's a magnet for wildlife that come to seek out the mineral-rich earth. On September 18, 2022, a group of tourists and guides visiting the reserve had an unexpected encounter with one of these mud volcanoes. As they trekked through the jungle, they heard a loud rumble. The ground beneath them started to shake, and soon after, the mud volcano erupted. Thick, gray mud bubbled and shot into the air, covering the surrounding area in a layer of sticky sludge. Though the sight of an erupting volcano is usually terrifying, the guides quickly reassured the tourists that this mud volcano was harmless. Unlike lava, the mud was cool and posed no threat. However, standing too close could still be risky, as people could slip or fall into the mud. Typhoon's mud volcanoes are beneficial to the local ecosystem, enriching the soil with minerals. Some believe the mud even has healing properties for the skin. While it's not dangerous like a traditional volcano, it's still a spectacle to behold, and the tourists who caught it on camera will never forget the experience. 6th Typhoon Jinan. In Jinan, a city rich with history in China's Shandong province, 2021 brought a storm that no one would soon forget. Jinan is no stranger to extreme weather, but the typhoon that hit that year left an indelible mark on the city's landscape. Wind speeds reached a staggering 143 kilometers per hour, breaking local records. This was no ordinary storm. The winds were so powerful that even large trees were torn from their roots, and buildings, some of them centuries old, were severely damaged. The storm caused significant destruction, and the entire city was thrown into chaos as people scrambled for shelter. Footage captured during the height of the storm showed a city in turmoil. Debris was flying through the air, massive chunks of buildings were torn off, and even the streetlights were no match for the wind. In one heart-stopping moment, a streetlight came crashing down just inches away from a passerby. It was a scene straight out of a disaster movie, but for the residents of Jinan, it was all too real. Despite the chaos and damage, the city was incredibly fortunate. Though the storm caused extensive property damage, no major casualties were reported. Jinan had weathered the storm, but the footage of the typhoon stands as a testament to the sheer, unstoppable force of nature. The storm served as a wake-up call for the city, reminding everyone of the importance of preparation in the face of such natural disasters. 5. The Glacier, Nepal. Deep in the heart of the Himalayas lies Glacier Lake, a serene and beautiful spot tucked away in the mountains of Nepal. This breathtaking location, at an altitude of 2,545 meters, is a favorite for adventurers and hikers looking to escape into nature. But for one group of explorers in January 2021, what started as a peaceful day by the lake quickly turned into a scene of impending danger. The group had been camping by the lake for a few days, enjoying the tranquility of the mountains and the untouched beauty of the glacier. Some played music, others marveled at the towering peaks surrounding them. But out of nowhere, a loud rumbling noise filled the air, shattering the peaceful atmosphere. Suddenly, the explorers looked up to see a massive glacier breaking apart, sending a cascade of ice and snow tumbling down the mountainside. The sound was deafening, like thunder crashing down around them. They had only seconds to react. "Run!" one of them shouted as the group scrambled to gather their belongings and flee. One member of the group, however, had the presence of mind to pull out their phone and begin recording the scene. In the video, you can see the glacier crumble into a massive avalanche of snow and ice, rushing toward the camp like a white tidal wave. Thankfully, the majority of the snow and ice stopped before reaching the camp. Though the avalanche appeared terrifying on camera, most of the debris settled harmlessly in the distance. But for those who were there, the experience was anything but harmless. The sheer power of the glacier's collapse left everyone shaken, a stark reminder of how unpredictable and dangerous the mountains can be. The footage of the incident quickly went viral, as viewers marveled at the natural beauty and terrifying force of the Himalayan glaciers. Though the adventurers escaped unharmed, the video serves as a cautionary tale for anyone who ventures into these wild, unpredictable landscapes. 4. The Landslide, Northeast India. The people of Nehru, a small city located in the northeastern part of India, are no strangers to natural disasters. Situated in a region that frequently experiences earthquakes and floods, residents are used to the occasional disruption of their lives by the elements. However, in May 2021, Nara was hit by a storm that triggered one of the most devastating landslides the region had ever seen. As Storm Yas swept through the area, bringing with it intense winds and torrential rains, it quickly became clear that the newly built retaining wall on the edge of the city was not going to hold. The heavy rains saturated the earth, weakening the foundation of the wall until it finally gave way, triggering a massive landslide that sent tons of earth and debris cascading down the hillside. A photographer who had been documenting the storm was able to capture the terrifying moment on camera. In the video, you can see the retaining wall start to crack and buckle under the pressure of the waterlogged soil. As the earth gives way, it's as if the ground itself is being swallowed up, with huge chunks of land sliding down in a matter of seconds. Thankfully, no one was in the direct path of the landslide when it hit, but the damage was severe. Several homes were destroyed, and the city was left with a massive cleanup effort in the aftermath of the disaster. The footage captured by the photographer serves as a stark reminder of the destructive power of nature, particularly in areas prone to landslides and heavy rainfall. 3. The chaotic bicycle race, Hell Mountain, France. Every year, adrenaline junkies from around the world gather in the French Alps for one of the most intense and grueling mountain bike races on the planet. The downhill race on Hell Mountain, located in the resort town of Les Deux Alpes, attracts hundreds of riders eager to test their skills and endurance on the icy, treacherous slopes. On July 2, 2019, over 1,000 cyclists gathered at the starting line, ready to take on the 24-kilometer race down the snow-covered mountain. The race started smoothly enough, with riders speeding down the mountain at breakneck speeds. But within just 40 seconds, things took a disastrous turn. As the cyclists rounded a sharp curve, one rider lost control and crashed into the rider in front of him. What followed was a chain reaction of crashes, with over 800 riders piling into one another in a chaotic, snow-filled disaster. Riders were thrown from their bikes, some tumbling down the mountain as others tried desperately to avoid the collision. The scene was nothing short of chaotic. From the air, it looked like a swarm of ants had been scattered across the snow, with riders and bikes strewn across the slope. Despite the massive pileup, there were surprisingly few serious injuries. Most of the riders managed to walk away with only minor bruises and scrapes. The footage of the race quickly became a viral sensation, as viewers watched in disbelief at the scale of the crash. It was a reminder of the risks involved in extreme sports, where even the slightest mistake can lead to a domino effect of disaster. 2. The train storm, Salisbury, Canada. In February 2015, the small town of Salisbury, New Brunswick, was hit by a storm so fierce that it left the town buried under several feet of snow. The town, which is known for its fox farms and quaint rural charm, had seen its fair share of snowstorms. But this storm was different. As the snow continued to fall, the local railway tracks became nearly invisible, buried under thick layers of snow. Darren Gordon, a local train enthusiast, happened to be in town that day and decided to venture out to capture footage of the storm. What he ended up capturing was one of the most dramatic train scenes ever caught on camera. As Darren stood near the tracks, he saw a train approaching in the distance, moving at full speed despite the blizzard conditions. The snow piled up in front of the train like a wall, and as the train barreled forward, it created a massive snow wave that engulfed everything in its path. The train plowed through the snow with such force that it created a snowstorm of its own, sending waves of snow flying into the air and over the surrounding landscape. Darren, standing just a little too close, was completely engulfed by the snow wave, but he managed to capture the moment on camera, showing the sheer power of the train as it forced its way through the blizzard. The footage became an instant hit, as viewers marveled at the sight of the train cutting through the snow like a giant beast. Darren admitted that he probably should have stood farther back. But as a train enthusiast, he couldn't resist the chance to capture such a rare and incredible moment. 1. The Floating Island, Chippewa Lake, Wisconsin. Each year, the residents of Chippewa Lake, Wisconsin, come together for a unique and important ecological task, moving a massive floating peat bog from one side of the lake to the other. This floating island, which consists of decaying plant matter, drifts aimlessly around the lake and occasionally gets stuck on the rocks or under bridges, causing problems for local boaters. In May 2022, a group of locals decided to document the process of moving the floating island. Using a fleet of small boats, the residents worked together to push the massive peat bog away from the bridge that connects the east and west sides of the lake. The task is far from easy. The floating island is huge and can weigh thousands of pounds. If not carefully guided, it could drift back into place within a few days. But why not just destroy the island? The answer lies in the ecological importance of peat bogs. These floating ecosystems play a vital role in carbon storage, trapping large amounts of carbon dioxide and helping to mitigate the effects of climate change. In fact, peat bogs around the world store an estimated 200 billion tons of carbon. For the residents of Chippewa Lake, moving the floating island is more than just an annual tradition. It's a way to protect their local environment. The footage of the boats pushing the island showcases both the challenge and the importance of this unique task. From industrial accidents and natural disasters to heart-pounding escapes and ecological challenges, these 10 moments caught on camera are a testament to the unpredictable and awe-inspiring nature of our world. Thanks to the power of technology, we can now witness these events as they unfold, reminding us of both the beauty and danger that surround us. Which moment left you the most amazed? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe 10 Chronicles for more incredible stories from around the world.